Alrighty, we are back for part 2 of a little tutorial on how to create a centerline section. One way to create a centerline section. So we're going to get this guy out of the way here, and we're going to zoom in, and we're going to get going. So if you remember back in the first section, we did some housekeeping. We made some layers, copied a layer, chopped a layer in half, copied it into this new drawing. Did a couple things, and now we're all set to start actually making the centerline section. So the first thing we need to do on a centerline section is we need to make like the ground level. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, and that is, you can put that anywhere you want. I'm gonna put it down here. I'm gonna draw it nice and horizontal. I'm gonna hold down my shift key, draw my line. So the first thing we need to do is we need to draw in. We're gonna draw in our physical theater space. So what I'm going to do, and you'll see this after a while, you're going to see that all you do is you drop down lines, and then you give them a height. And so I'm going to drop down these two lines. So now I know the back wall of the theater is going to go somewhere in here. Now, I didn't give you the wall heights for the theater, so we're going to say for this theater, the wall height is 25 feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the rectangle tool. I'm going to tell you why I do that in a second. We're going to draw the rectangle tool, and I'm going to draw it so it's 25 feet tall. So I'm going to tab, 25 feet, return, click again, and now we can delete these two lines here. Now we have our back wall in place. But in a section, any object that gets cut by the cutting plane that we did before, like this wall up here, this stuff, the couch, the table, that needs to be notated differently so we know that it's been cut through. So usually you can do that by just giving it a different color. So I'm just going to give this like kind of an off gray, sort of. Okay. Now what we need to do is we need to come up and we need to drop in our lines for the front wall of the theater. So again, I'm just going to drop in one line because that's all we need. Okay. And I'm going to copy this wall right here. I'm just going to hold down my keys and copy them over. Okay, I'm going to drop them into place here. Okay, now we have our downstage wall. Well, what does every downstage wall of a theater need? It needs the proscenium opening, so we need to pop that in there. And in this space, the proscenium opening is 20 feet tall. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a rectangle. We're going to start it down here. We're going to go up here, and I'm going to draw it to 20 feet. So tab, 20 feet, enter, enter. And here we have our proscenium. Now, we didn't cut through this down here, so that can stay open. But we did cut across the proscenium here. So now all we need to do to show that there's another wall at the top here is we're just going to draw a line across here. And now we have our theater proper is done. So the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start upstage and work downstage, and we're going to pop in these walls here. So what we're going to do for this first one is I'm just going to drop these lines down, making sure they're perfectly vertical. Okay, and if you look at your front elevation, we'll zoom out here, you'll see that these walls are all 14 feet tall. There we go, 14 feet tall. So we'll come back, and I'm going to draw another little rectangle, and this guy's going to be 14 feet tall. So tab, 14 feet, enter, enter. And now we have our wall. And again, it's been cut through, so we're going to give it that different color. Okay. Now we can come over and we can do this wall right here. There's this little wall here. So we're going to do that. Okay, and all we need to do again is drop down one line, because we can copy this guy and drop him in place. Okay, so now we have the back wall, the two back walls of the space. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in and I'm going to drop down a line right here. Okay, hold down the shift key so it's, and now because we don't see the depth of this wall because nothing cuts through it, all we see is this edge right here, so we don't have to draw the whole wall in. So what I'm going to do now to finish the wall is I'm going to draw a line from here to here. Now I'm just going to drag this guy back down into place, get it over here, and now we have our our set walls in place. So we're gonna take a look at something. There's a term in section making. It's called foreshortening, and I'm going to show you what that means. So if we look at this wall right here, okay, this wall from here to here is this wall from here to here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quick put a dimension on this guy, and we're going to click on the inside and on the inside, and this guy is 12 feet 7 7/8 inches. That is the true actual absolute length of that wall. Okay, now I'm going to come down here and let's do the same thing. I'm going to put a dimension on it, and from here to here, and we look, and it's 12 feet 2.5 inches. 12 feet 7 7/8, 12 feet 2. Well, why that is this wall is angled away. So if this wall was completely at a 90-degree angle, it would be this right here would be 12 feet 7 7/8 inches. As this wall, if this wall was angled further out this way, this right here would get shorter and shorter as it got angled out. And again, if it was just shot all the way straight out, all you would see is this section of a wall. So that is called foreshortening. So everything, the vertical dimensions are all exactly the same, but it's the horizontal dimensions that are going to seem just a bit squished. So it might seem a little weird to start. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to draw in our 3D molding, okay? Our molding, our crown molding. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up to the front elevation, and I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to grab our crown molding that we've already drawn, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to copy. Okay, then I'm going to come back to the drawing. I'm just going to kind of come in here, and I'm going to paste, and here's our crown molding from the front elevation. But what I need to do is I need to flip him around. I need to mirror him around. So I'm going to click on mirror, and I don't need to copy, I just need to mirror. So there we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab right in the corner, and I'm going to pop him in right there. So here is our molding right here. So this molding down here, because it's been cut by the cutting plane, this is going to get a fill as well. So we'll give him a fill. Okay, and now what we need to do is we need to extend all the way along the length of the wall, the width of the wall. So what we're going to do is you can drag these one at a time, or you can come over and you can use the unrestricted scaling mode. So what we're going to do is we're just going to drag them over till it gets to the wall right here. All right, it's kind of come back a little bit and see what happened. Okay, this line didn't look like it stretched all the way. So hold down my shift key. All right, so in section, this is what that crown molding looks like in looking at it from the front. So we only need to do one more thing, is we need to copy this section around to the front. So I'm just going to hold down my key, copy it, and my monitor's about ready to turn off. All right. So we can zoom up, we can scroll up here, and again, here's our molding. So we're going to see that in the centerline section. So what we're going to do is, again, just come down, pop this guy in place. But because he wasn't cut through the cutting plane, he doesn't get a special fill. We're just going to come back and give him a white fill. All right. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to stop right there for this part of the centerline section video. Again, we've created the ground plane. We did our walls. We've done our trim, and in this next part, we're going to draw in these pillars right here, and we're going to draw in this the lamps and the fireplace.